Hi, my name is Brian with Ace Appliance in Toledo, Ohio, and welcome back to another quality video from ApplianceVideo.com. Alright, we have a GE side-by-side refrigerator, and the complaint is that it's not cooling. Things are thawing out. When we first got here, what I did notice, we opened it up here and we can hear the fans running inside the unit here. We're getting good airflow over to the refrigerator side, and at the time we were here, we could hear the compressor in the back running. Since then, the compressor has shut off. It shouldn't have shut off because it's really warm in there right now, so could be a couple different reasons why it's shutting off. I tried to turn the thermostat up more to see if it was a thermostat issue, and it hasn't came back on yet. So what we're going to do is pull the refrigerator out and get back to the compressor there, see if our condenser fan is running, and see what we can find out. For this repair, you will need a multimeter, a pair of pliers or channel lock pliers, wire cutters, and a 5/16 nut driver. Alright, to remove the back panel to the compressor compartment, there's going to be some 5/16 screws to remove. Alright, then we take our cover off. And now we can see our compressor, which is off right now. It's really hot to the touch. And our condenser fan motor, which is not running right at the time. So we're going to just see if we have power to it. If the thermostat's sending power down here right now or not. Alright, so what we're going to do is check to see if we have power going to our condenser fan motor. So we're going to remove the two wires. We got our wire harness off here. And we're going to set our multimeter to voltage setting on AC, the AC voltage setting, and we're going to check for our power here. And right now I'm not reading any voltage between the wires, so I'm going to go from one wire to ground, and I'm actually getting about 53 volts from one side to ground, and if I go from the other side to ground, I'm reading about another 53 volts. So it appears that we're getting improper voltage to our fan motor here, which would be coming from the thermostat. This one doesn't have a control board, so there shouldn't be any voltage at all to our fan motor when the unit's satisfied. Now, if the thermostat was the thermostat wasn't satisfied, if it wasn't cold enough in the unit, then it would send 120 volts down to the compressor and the fan motor. And right now, neither one are running, but we still have 53 volts. So we're going to wait and see what happens when the thermostat comes back on. It's very likely that we have a bad thermostat that's not sending the appropriate power down to where it should. Or we also could have a bad defrost timer that would be sending improper voltage. Alright, so we plugged our condenser fan motor back in, and our compressor started up again. So now with the compressor running, we checked our voltage at the condenser fan motor, and we get 120 volts there. And the fan actually tried to come on and run. You could see it was bound up, it wouldn't start up, but you could tell there was when you push the fan blades that it started rotating. So the bearings in the condenser fan motor are just getting bad to where it doesn't start up. You have to push it to get it started. So we're going to have to replace our condenser fan motor to complete our repair. Alright, to take our condenser fan motor out, there's going to be 3 5/16 screws that hold the 3 arms or legs of the condenser fan motor to the bracket here. So we're going to remove those. Alright, now we can condenser fan motor. Actually, before we do that, we'll go ahead and take the blade off to make it a little easier to remove for us. There's just going to be a nut that holds on the fan blade to the motor. So, use a pair of pliers. Get that off of there. Alright, now we can unplug our condenser fan motor and remove it. We're going to reuse the 3 arms. And we're going to take those 5/16 screws off of the arms. We have our new condenser fan motor here. We can reattach our arms back to it. Alright, and the next thing we're going to have to do is wire up the new condenser fan motor to the existing wiring. It doesn't come with the right terminal plug-in. It's just some bare wires that are stripped there, so we're going to have to wire nut, make a new wire nut connection from the new to the old. So we'll go ahead and cut the old connector off, just leaving our 2 wires that went to the condenser fan motor. And we're going to strip those back about 1/4 of an inch. And now we're going to wire nut 1 wire of our condenser fan motor to 1 wire of our existing wiring. Doesn't matter which wire you put to which. Alright, and to put our condenser fan motor back in, you want to take note of where the position that the fan motor was mounted for the wiring here. You want to get it back in the same position so that the wiring is not going to interfere with the blades and come in contact with the blades. And on this particular one, we don't have to take the screws out of the arms completely, because on the bracket it's keyed and slotted so that we can put with the screws in place, we can put it in place and twist it and then just tighten them up. So to make it a little bit easier, you can leave those in. I'm just going to leave the one in that was towards the back. We'll go ahead and put our motor back in place. Next, we can put our fan blade back on. You want to take note of the way that the fan blade came off. This was the side that was, on this one actually has 2 notches here. on the fan blade. Some of them do not, so you just want to take note of which side was against the motor so that the fans, the blades, are angled the right way for airflow. And we'll just put the nut back on for our fan blade. We'll tighten it down. Just give the blade a spin, make sure it's mounted properly and not rubbing or making any noise. And now we can turn the unit back on and power it up. And now with power back onto the unit, you can see that our fan motor starts right up, no hesitation, and it's running. So now our compressor will cool down. The condenser fan motor will cool our compressor down so that the compressor doesn't short cycle and trip off on its thermal overload, which then causes the compressor not to run long enough to keep the unit cold. So that will complete our repair of installing a condenser fan motor on a GE side-by-side refrigerator. Thank you for watching another quality video from ApplianceVideo.com.